thinking of playing Boots and Saddles from the Assault series. I want to re-hit this quickly before carrying on, and that is, this is pretty significant. Yeah. Deploying and, what do they call it? Undeploying. Deploying and undeploying count as movement for purposes of spotting and opportunity fire and pass-through fire and operations point expenditure. So just reiterating, and this is true in multiple ways in the game, there are real costs for your different major actions, and deploying and even undeploying are in that category. So that actually would have cost an operations point. So I'm in the fire phase here. It's the Soviet player turn fire phase, and I think it's time to figure out for sure how we handle this. The line of fire goes through this town hex. It goes through the town hex, but does not go through the graphic of the town. So in this fire phase, can these forces see each other for fire? Okay, seems pretty clear. The Americans and the Soviets are on the same elevation. They're at the same elevation, and the town hex is considered at a higher elevation between them, and it is the hex, not the graphic. So this entire hex here is considered one level higher, and so blocks that line of sight, line of fire. Now it's time to look at fatigue here. So it's still the Soviet fire phase, direct fire phase. And we've got these American infantry platoons here on the other side of the pond there, or small lake. It's not a pond since these are 250 meter hexes. This small lake, on one side we have 3 platoons of T-64 tanks, and on the other side of the small lake we have these 2 American infantry platoons. They are marked fatigued, if I remember correctly, because they moved in the second movement phase. But the question is, they're fatigued. Can these forces fire at each other? Line of sight is fine. Remember, this is an introductory scenario. We are not using spotting. So basically, it's only a matter of line of sight and range. So line of sight and range. What kind of contact can take place between these opposing forces? So leg units that move in the second movement phase are fatigued and marked fatigued. The movement effect of this is that they may not move in the subsequent first movement phase. Okay, I could be wrong. I could learn something later that changes my understanding, but actually I think that's the only effect of being fatigued. I don't think that the fatigued state affects fire. I'm going to double check the player 8 cards, but I guess I do need to consider whether these forces can exchange fire. Yeah, so basically I need to pull my head up. From other games I've played recently, I'm still way down at a lower level. These are 250 meter hexes. These are, I think, 5-minute turns, something like that. So yeah, fatigue is not going to affect fire. Okay, so I'm going to look at exchanging a bunch of fire here because I haven't fired with leg units yet. See what type of fire is available. We're not using spotting, but that would be a factor. Yeah. and it'll be important. I need to declare all my fire before I resolve any. But I got 3. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Tanks are in movement mode. Isn't that movement formation? Isn't that interesting? Huh. Okay, so this is one way. So let me see. So the tanks are in move formation. Let me see if the American leg units can actually reach out and touch them. What was that? About a kilometer away? Yeah, so that's no. But do a quick check again. So these are infantry Bs. Again, white writing, so we know that they're one-step units. They're sections. These are basically scouts. They are infantry B, though in game terms they're infantry B. And when we look at the infantry B here, infantry B, they have heat, but only out to one hex. Just to get the range in there. There we go. They have heat, but only out to range 1. They have small arms fire, but only out to range of 3 hexes. Now, interestingly, the infantry A's, the platoons of regular infantry, they have missiles out to a kilometer or 4 hexes with a 2 hit of 8, penetration of 19. Oh, and they also have small arms out to the same range. So, and just a realization, this game has a very interesting flow to it. Now, hopefully it's not just this introductory scenario, and what I'm realizing now has nothing to do with the full game. Also, hopefully I'm playing this right. But boy, there's not even so there is no turn record track that comes with the game. So I was using an edge of the map to use, and using the hexagons to track my phases. I have a little. This is what I was doing. Now I realize this doesn't mean anything, and I'll tell you why. I think so. I was using a landed marker on the Soviet or U.S. or NATO side, U.S. And I was using, like, this was I was going like this: Soviet second movement phase. Then I go to the U.S. first movement phase. But this, I'm scrapping this. This doesn't seem to be really necessary at all. And this is what I mean. Again, so in the introductory scenario, each headquarters has 2 operations points. Yeah, 2 operations points. So in a whole Soviet movement phase, the T-64 company there of 3 platoons that were in move formation, I mean, they spent their 2 operations points. And by the way, I'm not sure. I am assuming that that the city hex. I'm assuming the city hex right there, that the hex side blocks the line of sight between the headquarters. And the tank company there. I'm assuming that. So therefore, not in visual contact, therefore 2 operations points to change formation. And that's it. So no getting that force across the stream, no putting these guys in cover, no a lot of things. Just formation change. Okay. But on the American side, I've got my leg units here in position to observe for fire, but I need to get my fire unit into the right posture. And so I'm going to spend 2, again, not in visual contact with the headquarters here, so spends 2 operations points. So basically in the US turn of 5 minutes, I hope I have that right, the first movement phase, 2 operations points spent to change the M106 platoon there from move formation to combat formation, because they need to be in combat formation to deploy, and they need to deploy so that they can fire. So 1 movement phase and 2 operations points spent moving to combat formation, and in the next movement phase they will deploy. But first, before that, now I think that the Soviet tanks can fire at the infantry in the wood line there using, well, some type of ammunition, some type of anti-personnel ammunition. I think they'll use HE, but again, just to show the pace is interesting. I have no issue with it at all. It just seems, well, frankly, odd for a war game. Okay, I'm going to execute this fire, and I'll do at least one because I haven't done tanks against dismounted infantry. Okay, first what the tanks can do, and also I need to distribute my fire. I'll just do 2 platoons against one platoon against this one on the left. But our T-64s, they have HE at a range of 4 hexes is 10. So 10 is the, I don't know what they call it, firepower or something. No, so we also need to figure out the basic defense value of the infantry targets. Okay, I'll admit that I am proceeding just by quick scan here, not detailed rules examination. Okay, but I guess basic defense value is determined by the class. They're both personnel. So they're conventional fire defense table. Oops. Unit type, personnel. They're in the woods. They're both in the woods. It is unfortunate that the woods are so light graphically, but those are both woods. So it's woods here, and it's 10/15. First value is not in cover. Neither of them have gotten into cover yet. Second is for cover, so it's 10. So I guess it's 10 to 10, I guess. Armored vehicle. Okay, these aren't armored vehicles. Step. Neither of these are high concentration, so there is no adjustment for steps. Determine fire value. Okay, so I'll just kind of graphically show this. So this is going to be, so this is 20 against 10, 10 against 10. Because you add the fire values of all conventional fires being directed at the target. Okay. Oh, we have to do rate of fire though. Oh, rate of fire. Maybe it's easy. Oh, okay, it is 1. It is 1. Okay, so but it's one per step. Okay, so it's 4 steps and 2 steps. Okay, so it's 40 to 10. I wonder if the defense value is by step 2. Okay, there's no step adjustment for the defender. Okay, so it is 10, not in cover in the woods personnel. There are conventional fire modifiers, but they don't change anything here. So I think it is the first attack. I think is 4 to 1 column there. I don't see any die roll modifiers, and the other one is going to be 2 to 1. So see what happens. Roll my 10-sided die. Yeah, so just to note, I mean, you're adding those all together, getting 1 odds, rolling one die on the table. So quite different than the fire per shot, so something like that for anti-armor fire. Okay, but 1 attack rolled high, 1 attack rolled low. To get effects, you want low. So this unit had no effect against it. Just fine. I think that was a roll of 9, but this one was a roll of 3. So that's just barely a hit. So the unit, oh wait, okay, all right. Well, if it were a 2-step unit, now I remember it's a 1-step unit. If it were a 2-step unit, it would get a hit marker and it would be suppressed. But actually, in this case, it is a 1-step unit. So our first unit casualty for this introductory scenario.